Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. We're so happy to have you here with us today. Today's conversation will be revolving around nutrition for reducing the risk of vision loss. We're very excited to have our nutritionist guest speaker, Denise Canellos, and our lead IrisVision coach, Myrna Wilkins. To give you a little bit background on both of them, Denise is a nutritionist specializing in oncology and chronic disease. She earned her Master's of Science in Human Nutrition from the University of Bridgeport and is board certified by the American College of Nutrition. She teaches human nutrition and medical nutrition therapy at Chapman University. Denise became a nutritionist after losing her first husband to colon cancer. She has a love for food, science, and a strong desire to help people overcome cancer and other chronic illnesses. Denise believes healthy food should be delicious and simple to prepare. A little bit of background about Myrna Wilkins. She's the lead coach at IrisVision and is a legally blind user of the device. She has vast experience working with low vision patients and has trained hundreds of users by walking them through the process step by step to ensure the achievement of their personal vision goals. As a legally blind individual herself, Myrna is well versed with the current low vision technology that exists on the market and the varying needs of those within this community. As I said, we're very excited to have both of these incredible guest speakers. Before we begin, I would like to give a couple housekeeping tips for our viewers. We will have a quick Q&A session at the end of the presentation. I will direct you on how to ask questions, though if you have any questions that come up during the call or during the presentation, please feel free to utilize the chat box and we'll be happy to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, I would like to pass it over to Denise and Myrna.
All right. Thank you, Mel, for that awesome introduction. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. I'm so excited about having Denise on with us today to talk to us about some nutrition and different tips that we can think about when we're going and doing our shopping. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Denise.
Hi, thank you, Myrna, and good morning, everybody. It's so good to have you here, and talking about food is one of my favorite things to do, so I'm very excited about this. And food as a natural remedy is definitely my favorite thing to talk about. So what are we going to be talking about today? There's a lot of challenges when it comes to eating well for the low vision community. So one of the things, let me start off by saying that nutrition from food and whole foods is the best way to get all of these nutrients, because there's a lot of phytochemicals. And what I mean by phytochemicals, it sounds like a scary or maybe a bad thing, but it's not. It's fantastic. In fact, I like to call them phytonutrients, but they are compounds in the foods and the plants that we eat that definitely help us in our health. They may not be officially vitamins and minerals, but they absolutely help us. And sometimes it's really hard to get all of these into our diet when you have low vision. So we're going to talk about that, and especially which ones are especially important. Low intakes of some of these fruits and vegetables can speed up vision loss and affect vision loss. We don't want that. We'll talk about what happens when it's difficult to cook and shop for food, and how to eat out and wisely, and choose processed foods wisely if we choose to go that route. So the foods that are, the nutrients that are incredibly important for us, vision, you've probably heard of lutein and zeaxanthin. They're in deeply pigmented fruits and vegetables, and those are not the only two. Those are two biggies. They're very important, but they are not the only two. And when we get them from whole fruits and vegetables, whole foods, we get all of the, the helper phytochemicals too. There's a lot of phytochemicals that work in synergy when we get them in natural foods, and we want the full benefit of that. Planning ahead when shopping and preparing is really important. Eating out, like we said, and vision technology can help with a lot of the challenges like picking out fresh fruits and vegetables, knowing which ones are fresh at the market. Reading a nutrition label, I mean, it's so tiny on that package, it can be really difficult. Reading a recipe, things like that can be, being able to focus when you're chopping can be really helpful with assistive vision technology. A wonderful tool.
Thanks, Denise, for that awesome information. And yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of high-tech technologies out there, and IrisVision is definitely one of them. It's a wearable assistive technology, and it works with a virtual reality headset in conjunction with a Samsung cell phone. And we've basically kind of reverse engineered how this assistive technology works, because unlike other technology out there, IrisVision is an all-in-one, and it's paving the way for the wearable assistive technology industry. So, as I mentioned, IrisVision is different than the rest because of the fact that it's an all-in-one. So there are different software lenses that have been developed that help enhance the sight you have left. And with IrisVision, it's really cool because we're different from the rest because of the fact that again, it's all-in-one. There's remote assistance. So if you need any kind of training or anything like that, it's all done remotely. So when we're talking about the different software lenses, some of them include like the scene mode, which is a regular full color viewing mode that helps look at maybe faces or pictures. If you're at the grocery store, maybe it helps you locate an aisle a little bit easier, but it's a full color viewing mode. And then we have the colored contrasted reading modes, which could come in really handy, especially if you're like looking at a grocery ad and you're trying to make your list. I know that for me, when there's different color schemes, like a light color with a light colored text, that's really hard for me to see. But it's great to be able to come to one of these contrasted reading modes, like the black and white mode, which is a white background, black letters, or the inverted mode, which is the black background, white letters, or the green with the green background, black letters, or yellow with yellow background, black letters. These different colors can allow you to maybe see a grocery store ad or a magazine a little bit easier. Another unique lens that we have is called the RP mode. And this is designed for people with peripheral sight loss. So what happens is people with tunnel vision can use this mode and adjust their field of view. And all of a sudden they can see a little bit more. So although it's designed for people with peripheral sight loss or tunnel vision, it works really well for just about anybody. So it's, again, very similar to the scene mode where it's a full color viewing mode. But then we have the magnifiers, which are really awesome. There's a bioptic mode, which has a magnification bar on top and then a little like target window or pinpointing window at the bottom. And what happens is you point that little window towards something and it'll magnify in that upper box, in that bar. This is really great for, again, when you're at the grocery store, maybe trying to read labels or look at prices. I know that for me, prior to having IrisVision, I would always have to peel the sticker off the shelf and try to look at the price and hope that I put it back in the right spot. But now with IrisVision, I can just use it and zoom in on the price tag, and it's a lot easier. And I've used both the bioptic mode and the bubble mode to do that. So the bubble mode is, again, another magnifier. It's very much like looking through a bubble. And what it does is it concentrates whatever you're looking at just within that bubble. And you have the option to make it bigger or smaller or zoom in and out within the bubble. So these are all the great software lenses that really make IrisVision unique and really make it an awesome assistive technology with that high-tech technology that we hear about all the time. And again, it's an all-in-one. So that's what makes it even more amazing. With IrisVision, it is FDA registered and clinically validated. So we are backed by the National Eye Institute, UPMC, Johns Hopkins University, Stanford University, and we're also in partnership with Samsung. But what the cool thing is that we actually won the Innovation Award in 2019 at the Consumer Electronics Show. So that's really something to say about the device. And basically with IrisVision, it's academia, research, and technology all wrapped in one to combined to make this technology work. So what we'll cover today is just different ways that we can think about what we do when we go out for the grocery shopping or when we're planning our meals at home, making dinner, and how IrisVision can also help assist with these different tasks. I know that for me, I use IrisVision all the time to look at my fruits and vegetables, make sure everything is still good and not looking moldy or penicillin-y. So we'll go ahead and have Denise tell us a little bit more about these different points. So Denise, go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely, thanks, Myra. So when we're looking at nutrition and specific foods that are fabulous for eye health, I'd say look at your greens, blues, and yellows. And so our dark leafy greens are full of lutein, zeaxanthin, and beta carotene. Beta carotene is a powerful antioxidant that is also something our body will turn into vitamin A when we need it. Fabulous for eye health, right? These deep pigments will help filter harmful wavelengths of light and help protect our eyes. So these are those phytonutrients that I was talking about, those phytochemicals that seem to kind of just naturally go to our eyes and that part of our brain that really works with vision and helps tremendously. Berries have flavonoids, these deep blue pigments especially, and they're such powerful antioxidants that cross the blood-brain barrier. I don't know why that's always so hard for me to say. Yellow foods, fabulous. Yellow and orange, great sources of lutein and beta carotene. We really want to, so when I talk about yellow foods, right, I'm talking about your carrots, your corn, your yellow peaches and nectarines, your cantaloupe, right? And then something else to think about. So I always like to start with all the good foods we're going to be eating a lot of, and then talk about some things we may want to pull back on, and that would be excess added sugars and salt. So the last thing we want are to add conditions that can also negatively impact eye health, and that would be diabetes and hypertension. So the more we can avoid those and keep our blood sugar in a nice healthy range and keep our blood pressure nice and controlled, the better vision we're going to have. And then finally, healthy fats. Healthy fats help reduce inflammation in our body, which definitely helps with vision. But most of these nutrients that I've been talking about are fat soluble, which means we need a little fat when we eat them so that we can absorb them all into our body. So it's really important to have some healthy fats, especially the good plant oils, to really help us absorb everything that we're eating.
So avocados fall in that.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Avocado is really one of my favorites. And, you know, I'm Greek, so please have the olive oil, the olive oil that you can stand, right? So
Right.
dark leafy greens, what's included in dark leafy greens, right? We'll email you a complete list, but that's your spinach, your kale, your collards, your mustard greens, your beet greens, your amaranth greens, your arugula, your cabbage, your red cabbage, your radicchio, all of those pigments in that, they're so nutritious. Fabulous. Your berries, your blueberries, blackberries, dark currants, dark cherries, they're all fabulous. All berries are really good for us, but the berries with some blues in it are especially good for vision. So I don't want to discourage you from eating raspberries or strawberries, but try to a lot of times get those blueberries in. Our yellow foods are corn, our peaches, and nectarines are just peaches that aren't fuzzy. Carrots, cantaloupe. Yeah, you like it. See, I like the peaches. I don't know why. I don't love the fuzzy skin, but there's something about it.
Right.
And then our healthy fats, right? So our olive oil, our avocados and avocado oil, grapeseed oil, sesame seed oil is good. There's a lot of nut oils out there that people use to finish on a salad. Those are great too. We just want to avoid the fats that are solid at room temperature. Those are not great. They're not great for our circulation. They're not great for our heart and poor. We don't want anything slowing blood circulation to our eye tissue or up to our brain. So, and these really, I'd love for you to have something from this category, each category every day. But dark leafy greens, really, really good to have every day. They also help protect our brain.
Does that include herbs with the dark leafy?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. So herbs are fabulous. We don't always eat herbs in the volume to have that be our only dark leafy green, but if you add those to your foods, you're going to do yourself a huge health favor. So that's your basil, your thyme, your rosemary, your oregano, all of those herbs, and mint, dill, right? They're all fabulous. They're all also dark leafy greens. So I get asked a lot about salad. So salad, yes, but I'd like for you to have the really deeper, darker leafy greens in addition to some basic salad, right? So how do we do this in the grocery store, right? Get your list beforehand. I always say that because when shopping is a little more difficult, we want to minimize our trips to the grocery store, especially now. We don't want to have to go very often. And ask for assistance. So if you go to customer service or even ask any of the checkers, employees that are walking around the market, they will find someone to help you and walk through the market with you. And I have to say, all of my clients who do this find that they pick really good produce for them.
Yeah,
and the same.
I've actually used that assistance before, where I go to the grocery store and say I need help because I can't see or whatever, and they're really good. Most grocery stores are really good at providing that assistance, where they get a customer service person and they walk around with you at the store and show you around.
That can be really, really helpful. Yeah, and it's a nice way to meet somebody who's there to help you, and I think they enjoy doing it. And then lately, a lot of us have gotten very familiar with online shopping. So things like Instacart, Imperfect Foods is a produce delivery. You probably have a local produce delivery, a CSA, a community supported agriculture, something like that, where you can get food fresh from the farm. Most grocery stores have delivery options, and you have a lot of clients who use them, and they've always been very happy with the produce that people have picked out for them. We're always worried that, we're going to get the yucky produce, but actually that hasn't been the case in my experience and my clients' experience. If chopping vegetables and fruits is a problem because of limited vision, pre-cut fruits and vegetables are fine. There is no shame in buying those. And awesome. they seem more expensive, but actually there's no waste. So you're actually maybe not spending as much more as you thought you would. Frozen fruits and vegetables are absolutely fine. And I would say the trick to having really tasty frozen vegetables is to take them from the freezer right to the hot pan. I do not thaw them first, and I think they end up a lot better. Bagged salads and vegetables, perfectly fine. Absolutely. Lettuce can be slippery, and I know chopping it sometimes may not seem totally safe. So getting the bagged salads is fine. High effort versus low effort fruits and vegetables. I have to tell you that greens are one of the lowest effort vegetables to eat, especially if you buy them pre-washed and pre-chopped. And variety is key. So get spinach and get kale and get some power greens and get, all these other ones that you find in the store. But honestly, a little olive oil, a smashed garlic clove, salt and pepper, throw those greens in, and within a few minutes, even for some greens, you have a delicious side dish that took next to no effort.
Oh, that sounds good. It's making me hungry.
Yeah. It's, I'm all about either cooking once and eating several times, or there's no need to spend a ton of time in the kitchen if you don't want to, but getting these greens every day is just so important. If you choose canned vegetables and beans, they can be fine. Try the low sodium or the no salt added if you can, if salt is an issue for you. You know, some people, salt is an issue and high blood pressure is an issue. If that's not a problem for you, then you don't need to be concerned. But most of our sodium comes from processed foods. So if we cut a lot of the sodium out of our processed foods, we can add some salt at the table to taste, and that's not a problem. We can even add a little salt while we're cooking, and we're still going to be getting a lot less sodium than we would if we had bought the full sodium versions.
So there's a debate on table salt versus sea salt and Himalayan salt.
Yes. Well, so the fancy salts, the Himalayan salts and the sea salts, are usually what we call finishing salts. So that's what you would sprinkle on, at the end of cooking, put on your plate. And they're actually great for people when you've got limited vision, because basically you do it by feel in your fingers, and you can feel, because the crystals are so big, you can feel just how much you're putting on and know exactly. Whereas if you're using the salt shaker, it's really, even if you have perfect vision, it's hard to see how much salt you're adding from the salt shaker because it's so fine and thin. It's a lot easier. You have a lot more control with something like a kosher salt. Or some of these, with cooking, a lot of us will use kosher salt because you just dip into the little bowl of kosher salt with your fingers and you can feel exactly how much salt you're adding and know exactly what you want. And then there are some options. There are some sea salts that actually have a little less sodium in them, and that's fine too. So you can choose what you like, and then your doctor will tell you if you need to use a salt alternative, such as a potassium salt or something like that. But that's definitely something to check with your doctor about.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then frozen meals, if they're labeled lean or healthy, they're probably pretty good. I know Healthy Choice, and they have a spa line. Lean Cuisine has a spa line that is a little lower in sodium. And my recommendation is look for the ones that have the most vegetables. And if those aren't the ones you like, then be sure to have a salad or some vegetable on the side, because they never have enough vegetables in them. Those frozen meals, you're lucky if you get even one serving of vegetables in a frozen meal. And they're often very small, and so they don't really fill us up. All right, so eating out is a big thing. And I know when cooking seems like a chore, eating out is something we want to do. So I would say, now that restaurants are opening up, we can talk about it a little bit, but don't leave the house starving. Often we say, oh, I'm going to save up. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to save up all my calories for this meal. But then we often make really bad choices, and we end up filling up on bread, not even what we went to the restaurant for in the first place. So you have a piece of fruit before you leave, have a handful of nuts before you leave. Just don't leave the house starving. Always, I say always avoid soda. Soda is not our friend, even diet soda. Diet soda leads to weight gain over time. Sounds odd, but that's what the research shows. And then regular soda is just so full of sugar. It's really just a waste. So if you stick to water, iced tea, hot tea, coffee, you're doing yourself a huge favor. And then you can save those calories on something that is really beneficial, right? Something you really, really enjoy. Always start, because restaurant meals are so low in vegetables anyway, start with a salad or a broth-based soup to kind of fill yourself up. And then often you can split your entree with someone, with a friend, or take half of it home for the next day. And you really cut down your salt and your fat that way. And this is advice you've probably seen before, but when you're looking for a main dish or your protein, steamed, grilled, broiled, roasted, those are better than fried, obviously, or sauteed. And the creamy sauces and gravies and creamy soups, they're often made with artificial dairy. They're made with a lot of fat. And they really just have a lot more stuff that we would never put in if we were making those things at home. So those, unless it's like a special thing that you're going and you love this one dish and you get it a couple times a year, that's fine. But if you're eating out on a regular basis, you really want to avoid that stuff.
Yeah, and for me, I really like to go to restaurants, and it's been amazing with my IrisVision, because now going out to the restaurants, I can actually see the menu myself. Like I could actually read it myself. And
Yes.
that's really cool, because sometimes there's information in the menu that, you know, if you have your loved one or whoever you're with, like reading you the menu, because I know that a lot of you know what that's like out there. They don't always tell you everything that's on there. So now that I could see myself, you know, I could read the menu myself. So I just had to kind of put that in there because it's really a cool thing to be independent when you go out to eat.
Yes, absolutely. And that's right. People, they'll read you the main name of the dish, but they don't always read you how it's prepared or what all is included. And so when I say when you're choosing a meal, pick the one that has the most vegetables. It's going to end up being the healthiest by far, rather than just plain. And my husband and I will often get a separate plate of vegetables to split when we have a meal. It's a great idea. And you know, we each get a salad. Sometimes we'll split an entree and we'll get an extra plate of vegetables, whether it's greens or grilled vegetables. And it really can be great, right? And then we don't feel so stuffed and full after we eat. So food is the natural remedy. Get your greens, berries, and yellows. Watch your salt and added sugars, and enjoy your food. Right? Food is delicious, and you know, it's my goal that everybody finds a way to enjoy it and maybe cook a little bit more at home. We end up eating a lot healthier when we do that.
Yeah, and I know that cooking at home can sometimes be, you know, a little challenging for some people when you've lost some sight, you know, trying to chop the vegetables, trying to, you know, find like a particular kind of can or pasta, you know, so it's definitely something that I know I've dealt with. And I know that with IrisVision, you can see these things, or, you know, with assistive technology, you know, in general, it can help you see these labels, or if you have the wearable technology, it can help you see exactly where you're chopping so you don't chop your fingers off. That's really important. You don't want to do that.
Yes.
So that's how IrisVision can definitely help in that type of situation, to be able to spot things in your pantry or to be able to look for things in your refrigerator. So definitely take the time to really, especially if you're out there and you're already an IrisVision user, take the time out there and try these different things, and use your IrisVision to spot things in your pantry, and or maybe go out to a restaurant and do some of these things that Denise kind of helped us out with. So when you're thinking about all the other tasks that you can achieve as well with IrisVision, there's lots of different goals that you can accomplish, like watching television, or you know, reading books, or maybe you have a pile of photographs that you have to go through because you've been wanting to scrapbook and organize them. These are the different types of things that IrisVision can help with. I know that for me, it's been a huge impact in my life. In fact, it's 2 years this month that I've had my IrisVision, and it's just been amazing. Being able to write my own checks, sign my own receipts, you know, do those type of everyday things that we aren't necessarily able to do, you know, when we can't see. I know when I'm signing it and I can't see what I'm doing, it might start out good, but if I forget what letter I'm on, it's going to turn into a scribble. With IrisVision, I could actually see what I'm doing. So that's one way for sure that it can help with achieving goals. And then when we're thinking about just the quality of life, just how it can impact you, a lot of the time people, and I know some of you can relate to this, I know I have, you can get depressed, you can feel anxiety, you could feel lonely, you could feel all these different things. But when you gain this sense of independence, when you can actually kind of see again with IrisVision, it's amazing how much your life can just flip, and all of a sudden you feel more included when you're hanging out with family, because you can actually see people's faces. I know that when I saw my daughter's face, it was amazing. And to be able to see their faces and watch them as they're happy or playing or different things like that, it's a really cool thing to be able to experience. So there are a lot of resources out there that you can use to give you some tips and tricks on how to cook as a legally blind person, or different recipes. We're going to go ahead and email you that list of resources right after this webinar. But there's one called blindmom.com. She's a legally blind person. Her name is Nicole. She shares recipes and tips. There's also another lady named Iris, who's also legally blind. She has another website that we're going to include in that list. The Perkins School for the Blind and the Wisconsin Council for the Blind. These resources offer different types of articles or reading material that help you understand how to cook, or work around the kitchen as a partially sighted person. So again, we're going to email this out to you at the end. And of course, also we have Denise's book. She is an author, and she did write a book. We'll have that link available as well, so that you can go ahead and check it out. It's an awesome book. Denise, do you want to tell us just really briefly about what's in your book?
Oh, sure. So what it is, it's a easy step-by-step way to use diet to reduce the chronic inflammation in our body. And most of the chronic illnesses we see, chronic inflammation is a part of it, whether it's causing it, contributing it, as a result of it. Reducing the inflammation in our body helps with every single chronic illness that we have, that humans are experiencing right now. So it's a step-by-step, incredibly easy way to put these recommendations into practice. And there's about 50 recipes, I think 52, that are very, very easy. I am no chef. There are things that I do at my house, and my family is well fed and happy. So hopefully your family will be well fed and happy too, and you all will get something out of it. I wrote it for actually a client who has lupus, and she's got 3 little kids, and she works, and she needed something really easy. And so I thought, well, she's not alone. So I wrote it for her, and people have been enjoying it. So thank you for bringing that up.
Maybe next time you could write a book for low vision. for
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on our webinar today. Again, if you've registered, then you will definitely get a copy of this webinar as well. Please make sure you reach out to us for any other questions that you might have. You could email us at IrisVision. You could email us at IrisVision at info@irisvision.com. Again, you can call us at any time if you're interested. Maybe you want to learn more a little bit about the product. You can call one of our awesome sales reps at 855-449-4536. Or, if you just have some questions, you're a user, you need a little bit of assistance with maybe something that might be going on, you can call at 855-207-6665. Also, remember, we have that Refer a Friend program as well. So if you are a user and you're really enjoying using your device, please make sure you refer a friend. There is an incentive for that as well. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us today. Denise, I really appreciate everything that you did for us today, all the information you gave us. I love this subject. This is one of my favorite subjects. So I appreciate the time you took to educate us today.
Oh, absolutely. You're welcome. This was fun. And I saw one last question came up. Do you recommend any particular brand of multivitamin? And I would say there are a few that I recommend. But basically, most multivitamins are pretty good at what we're using them for. So if it's a nationally recognized brand, you're probably doing just fine.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Yes, definitely. Everyone enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you on the next webinar.